Hi guys, Ken here, postcards from Cebu. Maayang Pasko. Merry Christmas everyone. It's Christmas Day here in Maryland. And actually yesterday spent some time with my kids. My daughter came into town. And from Ohio she came in and we went to visit my mom at the nursing home. And we had a good time. And today the kids are off with their mother, and so I'm got some free time here, and I actually found some Sam Mig at the liquor store, and bought a 6-pack. And cheers, Merry Christmas. I love Sam Mig. Anyway, guys, I promised that I would go through this I-130 form with you. Which is the form that I use to get Vivian her visa, CR-1 visa, and green card and all that kind of stuff, so that she could immigrate to the United States. So without further ado, let's have a look. Okay, guys, so this is the form I-130 from the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Service, USCIS. This is part of Department of Homeland Security. And like we talked about in the last video, we kind of did an overview of the process. And this is the first step. A couple of key points here to keep in mind as you're filling this form out. You, the U.S. citizen, you are the petitioner, and your wife in the Philippines is the beneficiary. Okay, so you are the petitioner, she is the beneficiary. Another note, something we want to keep in mind is that both the USCIS and State Department are very wary of any fraud involved in immigration. So obviously, you're doing this for the right reasons, because you're legitimately married to a wonderful young lady and you want to bring her to the U.S., and that's all good. But just keep in mind that fraud is a very serious issue, and there are strict penalties for it as well. This particular form expires on the 31st of July 2018. You're going to file this form, the I-130, and simultaneously this one, the I-130A. Then we're basically going to put together a package with all the documentation required. You're going to have copies of birth certificates, marriage certificates, divorce decrees, and anything else that's applicable to you. You're going to make copies available, submit them with this form in a nice little package. And I believe I talked last time about it being kind of similar to a term paper. You're going to have a cover letter, table of contents, and all that kind of stuff, where you're going to document everything. You're also going to need some passport photos of your wife and yourself, and put those inside of a plastic bag, label them, write the name, her full name on the back of the photo as well, and your full name on the back of the photo. And those will also be included in your package. I'm also going to show you some additional resources that might be helpful to you. So starting out, you are the petitioner. Okay, she is the beneficiary. Okay, your spouse. And these forms are fillable. You can type into these. So you're filing for your spouse, so you select that box, and they ask you questions about, did you gain lawful permanent resident status or citizenship through adoption? And you have to answer those questions. I don't know what your situation is. Chances are, if you're a citizen because you were born in the United States and you have a social security number, you're going to put that in there. And then your full name, last name, first name, middle name. Spell out your entire middle name. Don't just abbreviate with a letter. Okay, if you used any other names. And then the rest of this is fairly straightforward. Okay, city or town that you were born in the country, USA, and your date of birth, and your sex, male or female, your mailing address. Okay, physical address. Provide if it is different from your mailing address. Okay. Physical address, and here they're going to ask you how many times you've been married. This is where you're going to, if you're divorced, you'll need a divorce decree in there. If you're widowed, you'll need a death certificate, copy of it. Date of your current marriage, place of your current marriage. And for instance, since Vivian and I were married, that would have been Minglanilla, Cebu Province, Philippines. Okay. Name of your spouses, previous ones, if any. Okay. I would put spouse 1 as being Vivian and spouse 2 as being my ex. Okay, then you want to know about your parents, so mom and dad, first, middle, last, and date of birth. Parent 2, country of birth, town, country of residence. Parent 2's information, first, middle, last, or first, last, first, middle, date of birth, all that stuff. Additional information about you. Here, I was a U.S. citizen, and my citizenship was acquired through birth in the United States. Okay, but you could be naturalized or have been born abroad, maybe because your parents were U.S. And then if you have obtained a certificate of naturalization, then you have to find that information and plug that in there as well. I didn't have to worry about that. Other questions about you, how you became either a lawful permanent resident or a citizen. And then they want to know about your employment. Remember that one of the things you're going to have to do later down the road is supply State Department with a affidavit of support, and you're going to have to provide tax returns, W-2s and stuff like that. I think I mentioned that in the last video. All that stuff needs to match, because otherwise it's a flag that there might be some fraud going on. So you'll be very careful when you fill this out and make sure everything matches up very right. You want to, okay, and then some other biographic information that you're going to provide. Now, information about the beneficiary. Okay, this is your wife. Okay, you probably don't have any of this for her. Okay, so just leave it blank. And I mean, if she's still living in the Philippines, she's not going to have any of these alien registration numbers or social security numbers or anything, not yet. There will be a box that you can tag in one of the later forms that request a social security number when she enters the U.S. And I would do that because they're just going to automatically send it. I mean, it came. If you don't check it, then you're going to have to go apply for one. So why not do it all at one time when you apply that form? I forget what form it is, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So then her physical address, okay, any other addresses, contact information. For me, it was kind of easy because Vivian had been living in the same place for a very long time. A lot of times, if it's beyond 5 years, they're not really worried about it. I would definitely include your wife's mobile phone number and email address so that they can contact her if they need to. Place of the current marriage, if she has any spouses. That's a little tricky because she's going to have an ex maybe, but you're the current spouse because you're married, right? So place of beneficiary's current marriage, and then the name of the spouse would be you. Okay. Then information about her family. Okay, so person number 1, person number 2, person number 3. Information about more information about the beneficiary. These are persons in her family. Then her employment information. In my case, Vivian was a chef, and she worked. She was self-employed. Worked with a friend of hers doing catering. So Vivian would prepare the food, and her friend Hazel and her husband would do the actual catering of the event. But Vivian would prepare the food ahead of time. You know, was your wife ever in immigration proceedings before? Hopefully not, right? But if she was, this is where you got to let them know that. And if you answered yes, select the type of proceedings, okay? Now, this is more information about the beneficiary, and you know, read this stuff over fairly close, guys. You know, if the beneficiary's native written language does not use Roman letters, type or print her name and foreign address in the native written language. Okay, but luckily for the Philippines, English is widely used, especially with all the government and signs and everything else are in English, so you shouldn't have a problem with that. Other information: have you ever filed for a petition before? So hopefully you haven't. Now, petitioners, that's your contact information there, okay, that you're looking for. And then you're gonna sign and make these declarations, okay? And you're going to sign it down here. So, by law, you may be imprisoned for up to 5 years or fined $250,000 or both for entering into a marriage contract in order to evade any U.S. immigration law. Remember, I was talking about fraud earlier. So, you want to make sure that everything's straight up and legit. Okay, and then you're going to sign the form down there. And this is stuff for, like, if you had an interpreter or anything. I don't think you'll need that in case of the Philippines. Preparers and stuff if it's an attorney or one of those services. Then okay, guys, so there you have it. That's filling out the I-130 form and the I-130A. I also recommend that, what is it? It's a G1145 e-notification form. I would definitely do that as well and send that with it so that they can send you a text message or contact you by email with the numbers and stuff that you're going to need for the future steps of the process. So I would definitely get all that done too. And very important, keep a copy of everything that you prepare. Basically, you want to keep an entire copy, your own personal backup copy of the packet that you're going to send to USCIS. You want to keep a copy of that. Anyway, guys, like and share this video. Feel free to click on the link below if you want to donate to help the channel out. And up there somewhere is going to be the link to click subscribe to the channel. Vivian's pretty face. Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you later. Bye.